Hello, I'm Keith Ford and welcome to another edition of From the Vault. And today we're going to go down the Mark 12 Mod X rabbit hole. And right here I have my Mark 12 Mod 0 and my Mark 12 Mod 1. Now before we even get started, there's a couple things I'm going to say before the attack of the clone nerd starts. These are not A1 lowers, for which that was used on the Mark 12s. These are Colt M4 civilian lowers. I like my Colt lowers. That's what I'm using on these. The scopes are not clone correct. They're just too expensive for me, and actually these work great for me and just work fine. The mount right here, this is a Reptilla mount. It's not a QD mount, but it's great. Now the Swan mounts right here, or the A.R.M.S mounts, these are different from what was used on Mark 12 as well, but I like them. I don't use them a whole lot, but still though, they're decent. But other than that, that's pretty much only difference on these. So let's go take a look at the Mark 12 Mod 0. Around 1999, 5th Group Special Forces was looking at doing a special purpose receiver, SPR, that they could drop onto a M4, M16 lower. It was need to be accurized, free-floated handguard, and at the time, they were kicking it around, and finally around 2000, Naval Surface Warfare Center at Crane Division, Indiana, actually started working on these. And so what they did, they got a 18-inch Douglas barrel, a Precision Reflex fold-up front sight, A.R.M.S brake with a collar right here for the A.R.M.S Allen Engineering suppressor or silencer. Precision Reflex handguard. Now this is a later Gen 3, not a Gen 1. You'll see the collar right here. I like the Gen 3. To me, it's better than the Gen 1. And the Swan rail right here, which is actually Precision Reflex, but has the A.R.M.S 40L, which was a later sight used. Early versions were the 40. Now this is a B5 stock mod stock, not a LMT, but pretty much same thing. Then the Sierra Precision grip right here. Crane was also using at the time the Swan or A.R.M.S throw lever scope rings, and then they were also using Precision Reflex gas buster charging handle. Now also what Crane was using was M16A1 lowers, because there was several of those coming in from turn-ins from National Guard. But what they would do with that lower, instead of using the regular mil-spec trigger, they put in a Knights Armament 2-stage competition trigger. So kind of the idea of the SPR was to take an accurized upper and put it on a regular M4 lower. I mean, in theory it's pretty good, but in practice it's not real good, because you have to have the competition or the good trigger versus a regular military trigger. But this saw quite a bit of action for a while, and then after a while they decided to change it up to the Mod 1. Now the Mod 1 here, a little different. This is using a Knights free-floating handguard. They took away the Precision Reflex gas block, using a Crane gas block, but still using the A.R.M.S brake right here with the collar. Now this one is supposed to be a long collar. I just have the short. Somewhere I've got a long collar hidden, but I can't find it. Installed the Knights flip up front sight. They were still using the Swan throw levers mounts, and then they started kind of going towards LaRue's for a little while later on, and then using the CAC or Knights Armament 600 meter rear sight. Now this one right here, I shoot it some, and I don't have a gas buster on it. I just like the large charging handle right here. This is on a Colt M4 civilian lower, and the stock right here, this is just a regular old A1 stock. That's how it would have came from Crane. The grip right here, this is an A2. Some of them had A2s, some of them had A1s, some of them even had ergo grips. It's just, now once these arrived from Crane to the areas that they were being used in, individuals that were using these would end up changing them some. I mean, a lot of guys would change out grips. They'd change out stocks. Some of them used it just like it was. Bipods. You'd see them with the Harris SBR-Ms. You'd see them with the Harris SLMs. And actually, they were even using Harris 1A2Ls right here. This is one that I actually pulled off of a Mark 12 Mod 1. And the reason why it was pulled from service is because this little crossbar broke and someone had tried to put the nut back on. So this was removed from service. But they even used these. I mean, they were using the Parker Hale style of Versapods. Those are kind of wobbly and didn't last long. And on the Mod 1s, some of them you'd see with the nice Armament vertical grip right here. I mean, it was kind of, they were doing their own thing once these got into the operator's hands, but they're very accurate, very good guns. And I mean, I love them. I love shooting them. Now, there was one change that came along called the Mark 12 Mod H, which was the Holland. And that was a change on the Mod O, where they went to a 16-inch barrel, removed the gas block front sight right here, still retained the OpSync muzzle brake and the collar, but they changed the stock to the Ace SOP mods right here. Once these really got into users' hands, some of them kept them for a while, but most of them were changed out pretty quick, went to Magpul stocks, different variety. This is just, it's okay, but it's just really not super great for me and a lot of other guys that use these. But that's pretty much kind of a quick overview of the Mark 12 Mod O and Mark 12 Mod 1. I mean, that's a deep, dark rabbit hole of a lot of variations, changes, individual changes. I mean, no two of them were alike, really, because everybody was doing their own thing with them. But they worked really good because it filled a gap between the M4 carbine and the Mark 11 and then the M110 308s. I mean, these are really good guns. But what really made these super good guns is the advent of the Mark 262 Mod 1 ammunition. This is since these are 1-7 twists, they don't like light bullets. They like a heavier bullet, and the 262 is a 77 grain bullet, and they will hit out to 850 yards repeatedly. And that really brought these alive, and that's just a cool piece. So there's quite a bit of information if you want to look up on the internet, because there's so many different things that were done to these guns, and they're super cool. Now, two people that use these, one of them was author and former Navy SEAL Jack Carr, author of the Terminal List, and then the author of Lone Survivor, Marcus Luttrell, retired Navy SEAL, used Mark 12 Mod 1. I mean, and there were several noted people in Special Operations Command that used these guns, but that was probably the two most recognized. So, sorry if I've rambled on, but this is kind of a geek out time for me with these guns, because I like them and handle and worked on them. So that's pretty much it for the Mark 12 Mod X series. What's your experience with these guns? I mean, have you built clones of them, or were you actual users of these guns? Be sure and drop us a line in the comments section here, and while you're at it, smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks again, and be sure to tune in again whenever we bring another gun from the vault.